Alex is outside fishing for stragglers. I said, let's get started.
So, among your many duties as coach, I'm sure being a part-time psychologist is on the list. Is that, after 2 losses, is that something that you go to more with your team, the mental aspect of just kind of getting back on track, not letting things snowball?
We don't really talk about whether we won or lost as much as and I understand it's your job and the fans, bottom line, especially if you're on FanDuel. But you like that. They get really upset with me, I'm sure. But anyway, yeah, you got to focus on getting better. So what I try to tell you guys, like, even if we win, I might not think we played well. And this, there's compartments to seasons. And I tell you guys that all the time. You're always working to get better, and you're always working towards March. And then you got different things that go on. Like, so for us, you play without Amari Bailey for a long period of time. So now we're into reincorporating it. We didn't have Will and Mac early, trying to get them into a comfort zone, trying to get rotations down. Like, so that's really our focus, and what we need to do to play well on Thursday night. I think that's really, and I get it. Sure, obviously, you got to win games, but we try to focus on our, improving, whether you win or lose. So, because you can play bad and win, and you walk around like everything's great, give me the chocolate cake, and, it's not. And then you run in, reality hits you in the form of a team that's good enough to beat you. So anyway, I mean, that's my answer to that. But you got to win. We're back to being at home. You got to win at home. So you know how I feel about that. If you're going to compete for a conference championship, you got to win at home. You're trying to get a high seed in the NCAA tournament. You got to try to go undefeated at home or be a one-loss team at home.
What following up on what you were saying earlier, what are the areas you're targeting for improvement right now?
Well, very rare for us in our last game. We turned the ball over and gave up 20 points off turnover. So it would be very easily, and I give USC credit for that. They turned up the heat, but we didn't deal with that. We got to deal with I think the game has gotten, all the games I watch, and our last 2 games have gotten unbelievably physical. We're a team that's a low foul team, so we've got to make some adjustments to the way the game's being called. We got to be prepared for the physicality of games better. That now, obviously, you got to get back to getting points off turnovers. So that solves a lot of problems.
The shooting percentages, will they just kind of take care of themselves over time?
I'm a big believer that there's ebbs and flows to that based on who you're playing, where you're playing them at. That being said, you got to always try to, the ultimate test is to execute at a high level on the road against a really good team, playing really physical. That's the challenge, which we weren't able to meet that challenge. So sure, we're trying to improve in that area for sure.
Amari looked really good in his first game back, at least to me.
Well, we weren't going to let Amari play until he was, physically had his foot had no ill effects. I mean, you weren't going to see him out there at 80%. Now that guy's got a career ahead of him.
So, will he move back into the starting lineup?
It'll be, Thursday, Washington's going to play zone. He didn't play against them the first time, so I'm actually not sure about our starting lineup Thursday.
Jalen obviously had some struggles against USC. He's had some struggles shooting the ball of late.
Yeah.
What's the key for him to kind of refine a little bit of what he had in the first couple months of the season?
Well, you got to be able to see your target. So he's watched a lot of film with our assistant coaches where his head's not on the rim as a finisher. He's flipping, and he's got an array of shots, but you have to have your head on the rim. For lack of a better term, I'm a movie guy, so American Sniper, Chris Kyle, had his, snipers eye their target before they shoot. So, got to get his head back on the rim before he lets the ball go. You got to find your target. He's got to get on balance better. So it's just whether we win or lose, there's things that we're trying to improve on. But again, and there's ebbs and flows to a season, as far as a guy making open shots. But that in particular has been an issue for him. What I call taking blind shots at the rim. That'll kill your percentage. Now I don't care what your name is. You can be LeBron James or Jalen Clark. You taking blind shots off balance, you're going to struggle.
The top 5 guys in UCLA history in steals are all point guards.
Really?
Yeah, Jalen.
Tyus Edney?
Darren Collison, Pooh Richardson, Earl Watson's number 1. And I'm missing somebody, but
Got it.
yeah,
What about
they're-
Rod Foster? I was a big fan of him when I was a little kid.
But I guess my question is, Jalen obviously he's not a point guard, but he's leading the Pac-12 in steals. What makes him so good at being able to do that?
Well, Jalen Clark has great anticipation skills, but we got to get him back to that. Yeah, he's got to start smelling the ball more. Got to get him some layups on the break and help his field goal percentage. But he's got elite anticipation skills. Always has. Now his dad Neil takes credit for that because he's from Newark and Brick City, a lot of toughness, and he played with some great players. And his dad, in all seriousness, gave him great advice when he was young. Like, if you want to get on the floor with all these Compton Magic guys, you're playing with the Mobleys and the Conwoo and Johnny Chuzang, you better be able to play defense. So, but, my dad told me the same stuff, but I didn't, 6'5" and a great athlete, so it didn't quite work as well.
Going back to the offensive execution, is there anything specific in the half court that you've seen in the last month that's maybe there have been any common threads in some of these games?
Every game is different, so the answer to that would be no. And what I would tell you is what I say every year: when January comes and conference play comes and familiarity, games change, exponentially change for a lot of reasons. Physicality in Power 5 basketball is real. Official fatigue is real. Team coaches pound nails, batten down the hatches, and it's just really, it's much harder to score. We have great coaches in the Pac-12. That being said, Tiger hasn't, we've had some guys that in our ebbs and flows haven't shot the ball quite as well of late. But I always say execution goes back to passing. You have better passing, you're going to have better shooting, so you're going to get easier shots.
Washington stuck with Arizona for a half. When they're doing what they want to do, what makes them tough?
Well, when their zone can cause you problems, and they're able to create steals, because they're all facing their own basket the other direction. If they get a steal, it's easy that you're in a track stance to run ahead and they're going to lay it in. So you can't turn it over against their zone. If you do, it's an automatic basket. Secondly, Noah Williams was out for the better part of the early season for them. I think he returned against us, but it was his first game in a long time. Since then, he has been a double-figure scorer, shot a high percentage, and he's a veteran in this league. I mean, he's given them Keon Brooks, a Robin to Batman. He's given, so they got two veteran guys in Brooks and Noah Williams that can get you buckets, and it's changed their zone because now they're playing Noah Williams on the top of the zone. So they really only got one smaller guy. It's really important if you're going to play zone to have length. So it's made their zone better. It's made their offense better, for sure. Him just being healthy, and now that he's consistent, he's playing really well. They're 4-1 in their last 5. Their only loss is Arizona. Out of questions?
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.